3. They call it legalism, but God calls it loyalty. Modern Christianity has committed one of the greatest spiritual deceptions in history, rebranding obedience as legalism. They mock those who keep the Sabbath, calling them legalists, Judaizers, or Old Covenant slaves. But let's get one thing straight. God never called obedience legalism. He called it loyalty. John 14:15 could not be clearer. If ye love me, keep my commandments. Jesus didn't say, if you're Jewish, or if you're under the old law. He said, if you love me. Obedience is not about works-based salvation. It's about proving your love through faith in action. Let's expose the lie. The idea that keeping the 10 Commandments, including the 4th, is somehow earning salvation is a false narrative. Ephesians 2:8-9 teaches we are saved by grace through faith. But verse 10 continues, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works. That means salvation is the root. Obedience is the fruit. You cannot earn your way into heaven, but you cannot trample God's law and claim to walk in grace. Romans 6:1 asks, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. And what is sin? 1 John 3:4 says, sin is the transgression of the law. If there is no law, there is no sin. And if there is no sin, you don't need grace. So what are you saved from? When today's churches dismiss the Sabbath as irrelevant, they don't understand what they're doing. They're not promoting liberty. They're promoting lawlessness. And Jesus warned in Matthew 24:12, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. That's the world we live in today, a world where love has grown cold because God's law has been cast to the ground. People want the blessings of salvation without the burden of submission, but God never changed his standard. Malachi 3:6 says, I am the Lord, I change not. Hebrews 13:8 says, Jesus Christ the same yesterday and today and forever. So why would Jesus suddenly cancel one of his own commandments? The 4th commandment is not ceremonial, it's not optional. It's part of the moral law, just like, thou shalt not kill. You wouldn't say that murder is now allowed under grace. So why do you say it's okay to break the Sabbath? Let's stop using legalism as a weapon. Let's stop calling sin a virtue. Obedience is not bondage. It's the highest form of freedom. Psalm 119:45 says, and I will walk at liberty, for I seek thy precepts. Those who keep the Sabbath are not under the law, they are under grace. But grace empowers them to walk in obedience, not to live in rebellion. Challenge to all who mock obedience. If obedience is legalism, then Noah was a legalist. So was Abraham. So was Jesus. Are you wiser than them? If keeping the Sabbath is bondage, then breaking it must be freedom. But is breaking God's law ever freedom, or is it deception? Final words. The cult that calls Sabbath-keeping legalism is not preaching Christ. They are preaching convenience, compromise, and confusion. But the saints in Revelation 14:12 are defined not by rebellion, but by loyalty. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. The end-time conflict is not between law and love. It is between lawlessness and loyalty.